Hello, and welcome to the Dr. C Show. I'm Dr. C, your host, and today we have a very interesting topic. We are going to discuss single parenting. Do you know only 28% of children are being raised by a single parent, either mother or father? We're going to talk to a very special guest today who is experiencing single parenting right now. And we're going to find out the pros, the cons, the difficulties of single parenting. Today, our special guest is Nicole Garcia. Let's welcome her to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Now, today we're going to be talking about single parenting. And before we get into what single parenting is all about, the ins and outs, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
My name is Nicole, of course, and I'm a native of actually Los Angeles. Moved to Inland Empire in junior high, and I actually always had two parents, not my biological two parents, but I've always had my mother and a stepfather, and had a single parent home for probably about a year or two, and that's it. Graduated high school, had children young. I'm a cosmetologist.
Okay.
That's pretty much, I'm a mother right now. That's
Okay.
who I am.
That's your identity.
Right.
Okay. And how many children do you have?
I have
Three children. How old are they?
18, 16, and 12.
Okay. Teenagers.
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about single parenting. You know, I was doing some research and I found out that 28% of all children, that's almost a third of all children under the age of 18 are being raised by a single parent. So our job today is to help those who are serving as a single parent and give them some information on what they can do maybe better. Some of them are new at this. There may be a mother out there who's pregnant right now and knows she's going to be a single parent. There may be a father who knows he's going to be a single parent. So we want to get some information for you because you've been a single parent for how many years?
I've been a single parent for at least technically 5 years, but before I was with my significant other, but it was still like I was a single parent.
Okay.
So it's been a long time.
Okay. And your oldest is 18?
Yes.
Okay. So share with us some of your experiences. What are some of the things that you go to as a single parent that you wouldn't go through if you were married or had a significant other 100% of the time helping you to raise the children?
First and foremost, I think it would be financially.
Okay.
Of course, you're working on one income versus two. You're not always guaranteed a second income, be it child support, whatever. People don't understand even if they say, oh, well, I'll file for child support. It doesn't mean you're going to get it. You can file it, but it doesn't mean you're going to get it. Those are one of the things you go through. I think another thing is trying to identify, since I'm a single mother, trying to identify with my son. I'm a woman, can't raise a man, but I can raise him the best of my ability because I'm not a man. So, of course, that's going to be hard.
So he doesn't have the father influence?
No.
Okay.
His father is not in his life.
Okay. And that's another thing, too. That's another component because you can be a single parent and still have the other parent active, but not necessarily in the home.
Right.
Where they're there 100% of the time, but then it's a different story when they're not involved at all.
Exactly.
Okay, so in that case, so you have one son and two daughters?
Yes.
Okay, so in the case of your son, since his father is not involved, who do you have as a role model for him?
To be honest, he has a grandfather who's somewhat active in his life, but first and foremost, God. I depend on him.
Okay.
Secondly, I actually I keep him involved in sports.
Okay.
So I do look at the coaches, his peers. I have a small family, so I don't have a lot of male role models
Okay.
around him.
And the coaches chances are good because he's with them quite a bit, right?
He is. He is very active in sports. So year round, he is in something.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so, do you think if he wasn't as active in sports, he would be lacking the male model, even the male model role model, even more so, right?
In my opinion, I think so because, like I stated before, we don't have a big family. I don't have a lot of men for him to look up at. So if they weren't involved, um, there would be even more of a lack of.
Yeah. Okay. So you said finances. Now that's a big piece. That's a big piece because even like you said in sports and the other things that your children are involved in, it takes money outside of the everyday shelter,
Right.
food.
Right.
It takes money. So how have you been able to maintain throughout these years with the one income? How has that been?
It's been rough. It's been hard. When you're a parent, you have to put everything that you want to do aside. I didn't take the route of going to school in the beginning and toughing it out, trying to do a trade or something. I did as cosmetologist, but I mean, nursing or something like that. So being self-employed, you have your ups and downs, and I just, by any means necessary, if I have to take a second job, I just did that this past Christmas. I went and got a second job at night. I worked 6:30 at night to 5 in the morning, and then full time as a cosmetologist. It takes away time from the kids, but sometimes, like I explained to them, you have to make sacrifices just to financially be able to take care of what needs to be taken care of.
Now that's a good point. There's times when you do have to stop and explain to them, and sometimes they're younger, sometimes they're older. How has that been as far as them understanding you as a parent, the things that you have to do, and not maybe always being there when they want you to be there, and not being able to attend every event and every activity that they have? How has that been?
For my older two, I think they understand a lot more because they're older. They see what mom goes through. They understand more, and I can explain more to them as far as what I have to do. My youngest, I still keep some things from her until I feel she gets old enough to explain. She's the only one that she says she understands, but I know she misses me the most because I'm not there at night. I'm not there, and especially with her older sister being gone. So, I'm not there at night. I'm not able to go to her awards ceremonies and things like that. So what I try to do is in my spare time, I try to give myself a little bit of time because that's very important for a single parent.
Yes.
And I try to do something with her, whether it's the movies, ice cream, just something that I could say.
You said you have a small family. So I would imagine that doesn't give you a great support system. But even in your small family, do you have somewhat of a support system, or maybe friends that help you out with the children, babysitting, or maybe taking them to different places that they have to be at while you're at work?
I do. I've been blessed. I have been blessed, even though I don't have a big family. My mother, thank God for her. She's been a very good support, and her husband as well. He helps out when he can. And I have two friends that I've been blessed with that I met in junior high. We're still friends today. We call each other family. And the three of us, it's any and everything. Whatever the other one needs, and we're there for each other. So I've been blessed with that.
That's good, and that helps out a lot.
Oh, it helps out extremely a lot because you need, when they say it takes a village to raise a child, I believe that that's true. When you have three of them,
Yes.
you're like, I need the whole city.
Absolutely. Now, looking at single parenting in and of itself, we talked about some of the cons. Are there any pros
To single parenting?
Mm-hmm.
I think a pro would be it builds character a lot more. Not that having a whole family, of course having a whole family, you get a lot more of the better things. Sometimes. Because you can't have a broken family in one household.
Yes.
But being a single parent, I think it builds a stronger strengthening between the parent, be it male or female, and the children.
Okay.
I think it helps build character and find the inner strength within yourself, because you know you have just you to depend on. You have younger, you have a mouths to feed, to take care of. So outside of that, I don't know if there would be actual, you know, pros to single parenting, because you always think about the kids and what they're missing from having a two-parent healthy household.
Yeah. Actually, that was my next question for you. In doing all that you've done, all that you're doing now, working the second job and having the support system, is there anything that you think your children are still missing that you're not able to provide for them?
The time, the quality time. My kids are used to, they're my first priority. So whatever I have to do to make their games, to make their award ceremonies, whatever, I put forth 100% effort to try to do that. And when I'm having to juggle, you know, the jobs and other support systems, I myself aren't there. So I think they kind of miss that. I'm a big believer in cooking at home. I don't really like to do the fast food thing. So I don't get to cook as much right now, you know, when I'm working so much, cooking at home. My son misses that the most because he loves for me to cook. He doesn't like fast food either. So little things like that. It's, you know, what they're still kind of lacking. Not so much.
Okay. Would be your advice to the viewers today? Anyone who may find him or herself faced with being a single parent, or someone who may be getting ready to walk into that situation and have not experienced it yet, what would be your advice?
My first word of advice would be is to sacrifice in the beginning. One thing I wished I would have done was sacrifice when my children were young. First off, to stop after the first one, to be a single parent. That's first and foremost. Secondly, to sacrifice in the beginning so that you could go to school while they're young and sacrifice when they get older. It's important. It's important when they're young to have that time, but more so when they start to develop and actually notice, mom isn't here. Everybody else's parents is in the audience or at the game. I wish mom was here. Take that time in the beginning. Figure out what you want to do. Have a game plan, because now you have to remember it's not just about you. You have to set that aside. You have a child to take care of. Go to school. If it takes them 4 years, just tough it out. You know, eat your top ramen, eat whatever you have to do while they're young, so that as they become older, you're able to financially provide for them the way you would like to have the time to be there for them the way that you would like to. And of course, always keep God first. No matter how hard it is, you have to remember to just take the time to always go to church, pray with your child, say the prayers at night. Little things that matter, because you don't get that back.
Right.
You don't get any of that back. You don't get to go back and say, I wish I would have read bedtime story to them. I wish we would have just sat in the backyard and had a little picnic. Those things. As if you're walking into that, and to make sure you don't lock everybody out. Have at least one person for a support system. You have another friend. That's where my friends did come in at, because unfortunately they were single moms as well. So we were able to say, okay, you know what, we're all single moms in the same place. Let's help each other out. What can we do? Whether it was dinner, whether it was going together to movies, whether it's financially looking out for each other. Make sure you're able to have a unit that you can trust, and use that. If they have the opportunity to help you so that you can get ahead, use that and do that for them as well.
You know, a lot of the points that you gave, I'm sitting here thinking about it, that works for families that have two parents as well, because time is irreplaceable. And the support system, because one statement you made earlier is that it takes a village. It takes more than one parent, more than two parents. It takes a family unit, a family structure to really give the children the support that they need. So I think we've learned a lot today from what you've shared with us and the advice. Looking back in retrospect, sometimes we may not have the information that we need at that moment, but looking back in retrospect, we can say, if I could do this all over again, there's some things that I would do differently.
Yes.
So for the viewers out there today, the advice that Nicole Garcia has shared with us is take time with your children. Time is something that is non-replaceable. Once that time has passed, you cannot get it back. We know that single parents must make sacrifices that two parents don't always have to make. I mean, there's a lot of two-parent households where both parents are working, but sometimes one has the option to stay at home. Usually in a single parent household, that one parent does not have the option to stay at home. There's financial difficulties. But when you can come together with your children, with God being the head of the family, and having that spirit of unity and love and the understanding from parent to children and child to child, it will make everything go a lot better. So get your support system, find those who are willing to help you, band together with them, use all the resources that you can, and take time out to develop yourself so that you can be more beneficial to your children. Are there any final words that you would like to share?
I would just like to tell all the single parents, being it mother or father, to anytime things get hard and it seems overwhelming, take time out for yourself, go on your own, talk to God. I'm a true believer in the God above has made everything happen for me. From when I didn't know how I was going to pay anything, how I was going to get my daughter in college, He provided it all. Take the time out, take the time for yourself, and when those few minutes are done that you need, come out and just take some time for your kids. Things are going to get better. You'll get past it. You'll appreciate it. And that's it, just time. People don't understand how
precious
important
it is.
and precious time is. Moreover, working hard. Money isn't everything.
Right.
Money is not everything. That's something important that I had to learn with my children getting older. As long as you have the basics, your job is to provide for your kids, do what you need to do. The best thing that they can get from you is the love and the time that you have. And don't worry about everything else. Everything else is going to work itself out.
Okay, very good. Excellent words of advice. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I appreciate your time and I appreciate your expertise. I'm sure that there's someone out there who will benefit from what you have shared. They're wondering exactly what you're talking about. How am I going to make this work? And in the end, it will all work out.
It will all work out. You'll be able to sit up there and say, I did it.
Yes.
We did it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Thank you so much.